Good morning, members, and welcome to the 35th day of session. March 4th, 2025. Can you even remember February? I mean, that disappeared so fast, it's unbelievable. February of 2025 is long gone already, and we're almost a week burned up of March. It's just beyond belief. Yes, sir, we'll do it. Okay. Body, please get assembled. We'll try to quiet down a little bit here so our good chief clerk can call the roll, and we will get underway. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Alamand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clouston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Filer? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haraldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas? McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins? Rodriguez-Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strock? Strock?
You got to be on the floor, Chen. Thank you.
Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Worf? Williams? Winter? Wiley? Yin? Mr. Speaker.
We'll leave it open briefly. I do know we've got other members that are evidently indisposed, and so in that time, we will wait. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you will please rise. Our prayer of the day is being led by Pastor Bert Eldridge of Prince of Peace Lutheran Church in Casper, Wyoming. Pastor Eldridge, please proceed.
Thank you. Before we get going, I am a Lutheran, so I do have a little 3-point thing. I promise not a sermon. I promise I will have you out of here by noon. We're good?
Thank you.
I just want to say that it is a great honor to be asked to pray over this house today. Before I begin, I would like to just bring up a couple of things. The first thing that I brought today is this little blue Bible. In 2002, I was incarcerated in the Trona County Detention Center, and the crime that I was put in there for was done in this house and the Senate and passed. And it was a just law, and the time that I served was an appropriate time that I served for breaking such a thing. And during that 180 days, I accepted Christ, and I received this little blue Bible. And things became very different for me and different around me. I had the honor of serving for 18 years in that detention center as the chaplain and watched God brought to many men and sobriety come to many different people's lives and watch many men leave gangs. I then also served down at Torrington Medium Security Prison for 11 years, where I seen 60 men brought to Christ and baptized in the name of Jesus. My point of all of this information is because I want you to hear that the laws you pass are not only to protect the people of the state, but they also give a second chance to the people who are affected by them. Your efforts here mean more than you realize. The second item I have is this giant cross I have around my neck. It is steel taken from the oil field where I worked for 33 years before going into full-time ministry. The steel was used and shaped by men and women of this state that are affected by the laws passed in this chamber. It was smelted into a cross in the University of Wyoming by Jerry Hansen. It has a simple leather cord that holds it up. And that cord is a piece of the reins of the horse that was ridden by the Lynch family patriarch as he rode to Wyoming in the early 1900s to homestead outside of Newcastle. This also today represents a gift for those that dream of a better life, and one that was provided by laws passed in this House and in the Senate. The third thing I brought to you today is my last name, Eldridge. My people were never politicians or held high offices. They were simple working people that trusted in the ability to make a way for themselves in this great state. And on behalf of all of the people of the state of Wyoming, we want to thank you for your efforts that you make in these chambers. For you are making a difference for all of the people in the state of Wyoming. So with that, let us pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, most merciful God, we ask you today to fill this place with your Spirit. We thank you for the great state of Wyoming and all the gifts you've given us in it, the animals, the grass, the mountains and the plains. The work of your hands we stand in amazement of, O Lord. Thank you for the people you have brought to this state that have labored with the sweat of their brow and the strain of their backs, for they have built this great state into the most wonderful place to live and raise our families. I ask you, Holy Father, to protect over your protection over this body of representatives as they pour themselves into shaping this state. When struggles arise and tempers flare, help them remember they are brothers and sisters in a cause to help the people of Wyoming. I ask for protection over our representatives, their families, and their businesses as they've surrendered themselves into the work you have placed before them. Grant them peace when this session closes, and help them put into action the laws that they have passed here. Again, Holy God, we thank you for calling and elevating these men and women to serve your people. And thank you for fulfilling Matthew 10:18 in me today. All this we ask by the inspiration of your Holy Spirit, through your Son, Jesus Christ. All honor and glory is yours, Almighty Father. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Eldridge. Appreciate that. Fellow members and guests, please join me in the salute to our flag. Okay, members, if we could kind of start making our way back to our seats, we've got some special folks that are going to address the body here this morning, and they're waiting in the wings. We do have them with us right now, and so we want to go ahead and be respectful of their time as they're needing to be going someplace else. I'm sure they're going to be in demand in this Capitol, I'm sure, through the course of the day. So with that in mind, let us go ahead and complete our roll call. Chief Clerk, please.
Bear. Here. Lawley. Here. Lucas. Excused. Pendergraft. Here. Storer.
Excused.
Excused. 60 present, 2 excused, Mr. Speaker.
All right. Thank you, Chief Clerk. Appreciate that. Next, we'll have our Journal Committee report and then on to our special event.
Your Journal Committee reports to the Journal of March 3rd, 2025 has been read and recommends it be approved. Representatives Jarvis and Posey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go ahead and come on in, get ready to go. It is our very special honor to be able to introduce you to Mr. Daniel Chen. He is currently the Director General of Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Seattle. Prior to this, he was the Deputy Secretary General of the Taiwan Council for U.S. Affairs, second to the Foreign Minister's Office. And so he has served as the Deputy Director of the Political Division of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Representative Office in the United States, and he has also served the Section Chief of the Department of Northern American Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So, and with that, was awarded the Model Civil Servant of MOFA in 2011. So, without further ado, Mr.
Thank you,
Chen.
Speaker.
Welcome to the chamber.
Thank you, Speaker, Honorable Speaker Nyman, honorable representatives, and ladies and gentlemen. It is such my honor again to stand here before you to brief you about what's going on between Wyoming and Taiwan. And also, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for your joint resolution in support of Taiwan. You know, there are so many signatures signed within this esteemed chamber. So, Wyoming State Legislature steadfast, like the spirit that's rooted in your pioneer spirit, which helped build this great state, help bolster Taiwan's confidence to deal with challenges posed by the other side of Taiwan Strait, and you know what I'm talking to. So we have, with your support, we have the faith to defend ourselves from the Chinese Communist Party. So on behalf of Taiwanese people and the government, I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude for your unwavering support and enduring friendship. So you may ask why? Why a small island, only 1/7 of Wyoming State? Why does Taiwan matters? I mean, for Taiwan, you know, I can report to you right now, we are the 8th largest trading partner of the United States. Just for the year, in the year 2024, the accumulated investment from Taiwan has been reached $100 billion, which help sustain 360,000 jobs in the States. Just yesterday, I was watching the news and I found out there's more $100 billion coming in from TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Is it great? So, thank you so much. So, the reason why Taiwan matters because we stand in a kind of pivotal position in the Asia-Pacific region. And also, we stand in the front line of the US-China competition. As I report to you, consider this, 92% of the advanced chips are manufactured in Taiwan, and over 50% of maritime transportation goes through Taiwan Strait. So can you imagine if something happened in their period, in their region, what kind of a catastrophe disaster it's going to be? So Taiwan government, we keep ourselves, you know, we self-restrain and we try our best to maintain the status quo. And we don't want to be provocative, and we will always try our best to maintain the peace and stability in that region. So this year marks the 41st anniversary for Wyoming-Taiwan sisterhood. For over past 4 decades, our complementary and mutual beneficial partnership has flourished. From the establishment of your Wyoming Asia Pacific office in Taiwan, we helped donation of the medical mask during the COVID, and we signed driver license reciprocity agreement. And also the best, we have helped promote the presence of great Wyoming beef, raised with the rugged individualism of this land to be served on Taiwanese dining table. So all above proves that Taiwan is really a successful story of democracy and always a reliable partner of the state of Wyoming and also the state of the United States. So looking ahead, as the government representative of Taiwan in the Northwest, so I envisioned expand the exports of Wyoming agricultural products and energy resources to Taiwan, paired with Taiwan semiconductor and technological expertise benefiting Wyoming. So in tourism, Wyoming nature wonders captivated Taiwan visitors, while emerging sectors like quantum technology and green energy present exciting opportunities and collaboration. So policy-wise, Wyoming low-tax environment and Taiwan's role as an Asia-Pacific gateway can further enhance investment between both sides. So long story short, I'd like to thank you again for your resolute support and the dedication to democratic values. Your frontier courage strengthens us both. So by continuing to deepen our multi-faceted relationship, we can forge a better and brighter future for Wyoming and Taiwan. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Provenza. Thank you, Mr. Chen. We appreciate it. And I know you've got a couple other folks that you brought with you there. We could introduce them, but that's okay. I think they're probably already left. Oh, no, they're there. But we appreciate you coming, and we do appreciate and value the relationship between Wyoming and Taiwan. And we want to continue to encourage that relationship. And we pray for your protection from another nation in China that would love to be able to take you guys over. So we pray that you continue to strengthen that relationship and to keep us out of conflict there. But we do want you to know that you have our support. I hate to ask this, but Representative Filer, do you have something amazing for us this morning?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I do.
Would you like to make a run at it?
Okay. All right, this one was brought to me by a member of our staff, so watch your booze, okay? All right. I can't read my own handwriting. Hold on. Why can't a T-Rex clap his hands? Well, some would say their arms are too short, but it's really because they're dead.
Well, I could tell you who gave you that story, but I'm not going to do that to them. I heard that yesterday. That was so cute. All right. Any other privileges of the floor? None? All right. Messages from the governor.
March 3rd, 2025, to the Honorable Chip Nyman, House Speaker, Wyoming State Legislature, regarding veto of House Enrolled Act Number 45, being original House Bill 36, the Hathaway Scholarship Amendments. Further reading suspended. Sincerely, Mark Gordon, Governor. March 3rd, 2025, to the Honorable Chip Nyman, Speaker, Wyoming House of Representatives, regarding veto of House Enrolled Act Number 35, House Bill, which originally being House Bill 64, chemical abortions, ultrasound requirement. Suspend further reading. Sincerely, Mark Gordon, Governor. March 3rd, 2025, the Honorable Chip Nyman, House Speaker, Wyoming State Legislature, veto of House Enrolled Act Number 47, being original House Bill 94, Charter School Authorizations Amendments. Suspend further reading. Sincerely, Mark Gordon, Governor. March 3rd, 2025, the Honorable Bo Beitman, Wyoming Senate President, regarding veto of Senate Enrolled Act Number 58, being original Senate File 132, protecting critical infrastructure and systems from drone. Suspend further reading. Sincerely, Mark Gordon, Governor. March 3rd, 2025, the Honorable Bo Beitman, President of the Senate, regarding no signature of Senate Enrolled Act Number 50, being original Senate File 195, Small Business Emergency Bridge Loan Program. Suspend further reading. Sincerely, Mark Gordon, Governor.
Thank you, Reading Clerk. Wait for my Chief Clerk to come back here. We'll double check and make sure we don't have any concurrences. We don't have any messages from the Senate, I understand, unless that's changed. So. Okay, we are at that order of business of signing of enrolled acts. First enrolled act for our consideration, House Enrolled Act Number 63. Reading Clerk.
House Enrolled Act Number 63, being original House Bill 136, an act relating to compensation and benefits, excluding Affordable Care Act from government-sponsored health care programs that would disqualify a volunteer first responder from participating in the state employees and officials group insurance plan, authorizing first responder departments to contribute to the first responder group insurance premiums, requiring voluntary first responders to provide proof that their volunteer status on an annual basis, and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I am about to sign Enrolled Act Number 63, having been original House Bill 136. I have so signed. Congratulations, Representative Byron. Next enrolled act for our consideration is House Enrolled Act Number 64.
House Enrolled Act Number 64, being original House Bill 279, an act relating to property taxation, specifying that if multiple property tax exemptions apply to the same property, the exemption shall be applied in the manner determined by the Department of Revenue, specifying requirements for the order of application of exemptions, providing an appropriation and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I'm about to sign Enrolled Act Number 64, having originally been House Bill Number 279. I have so signed. Congratulations, Representative Nicholas. Next enrolled act for our consideration, House Enrolled Act Number 65.
House Enrolled Act Number 65, being original House Bill 228, an act relating to elections, prohibiting government officials and election officials from accepting private funds to conduct elections as specified, prohibiting any person from providing or offering private funds for the purpose of conducting an election, providing exceptions, creating new misdemeanor offenses, and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I am about to sign House Enrolled Act Number 65, having been original House Bill Number 228. I have so signed. Congratulations, Representative Knapp. Next enrolled act for our consideration, Number 66.
House Enrolled Act Number 66, being original House Bill 207, an act relating to religious freedom, creating the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, providing definitions, limiting specified governmental actions that burden religious freedom, authorizing claims and defenses against governmental action that burden religious freedom, providing exceptions, and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I am about to sign Enrolled Act Number 66, having been original House Bill 207. I have so signed. Congratulations, Representative Washington. Next enrolled act for our consideration, number 67.
House Enrolled Act Number 67, being original House Bill 147, an act relating to the administration of government, prohibiting governmental entities from engaging in any diversity, equity, or inclusion program, activity, or policy, prohibiting governmental entities engaging in institutional discrimination, prohibiting required attendance for certain programs or trainings, providing definitions, requiring rulemaking, providing applicability, and providing for an effective dates, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I am about to sign enrolled act number 67, having been original House Bill number 147. I have so signed. Congratulations, Representative Rodriguez-Williams. Next enrolled act number 68.
House Enrolled Act Number 68, being original House Bill 316, an act relating to school finance, creating the Select Committee on School Finance Recalibration, providing for a study to recalibrate the Education Resource Block Grant Model, authorizing the use of consultants, providing funding for an external cost adjustment to the Education Resource Block Grant Model, providing funding for the school district entitlement payments and special education payments, requiring a report, appropriating funds, and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I'm about to sign enrolled act number 68, having been original House Bill number 316. I have so signed. Congratulations, Management Council. Okay, let's hear it from Management Council. Go ahead, give it up. Okay, all right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, very nice. Next enrolled act 69.
House Enrolled Act Number 69, being original House Bill 62, an act relating to crimes and offenses, amending the crimes of prostitution and solicitation of prostitution to include acts of sexual contact, providing definitions, requiring reports, and providing for an effective date, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I'm about to sign enrolled act number 69, having been original House Bill 62. I have so signed. Congratulations, Majority Leader Heiner. Enrolled Senate Joint, enrolled Joint Resolution number 2, House of Representatives.
House Enrolled Joint Resolution Number 2, being original House Joint Resolution 3. A joint resolution in support of rural schools in Wyoming. Whereas rural schools in Wyoming have been integral to educating our children and are important for keeping rural families together, promoting social cohesion, and preserving community identity. And whereas our agriculture producers and ranchers play a key role in Wyoming's economy by feeding families, helping neighbors, and preserving our heritage. And whereas Article 7, Section 1 of the Wyoming Constitution guarantees that all children in Wyoming have the right to a free public education, stating the legislature shall provide for the establishment and maintenance of a complete and uniform system of public instruction, embracing free elementary schools of every needed kind and grade, a university with such technical and professional departments as the public good may require, and the means of the state to allow, and such other institutions as may be necessary. And whereas the Wyoming Supreme Court has repeatedly upheld the constitutional mandate to finance a high-quality and equitable education for every Wyoming student. And whereas Wyoming has 15 schools with 3 rooms or less that educate 102 students in grades K through 8 throughout 12 different school districts in Wyoming. Now therefore be it resolved by the members of the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
I am about to sign enrolled act, it's actually, enrolled joint resolution number 2, having been original joint resolution number 3. I have so signed. Congratulations, Representative Sherwood. Okay, that completes our enrolled acts for this moment, as they will continue to come in. Do we have any concurrences or? Next thing on our agenda is we're moving into bills on third reading and final passage. Consent list. Good Majority Floor Leader, please, sir. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's a lot of them. You can go on your webpage and see the updated list because it was changing quite regularly. Mr. Speaker, I move the third reading consent list consisting of the following Senate files. Senate File 10, Senate File 34, 38, 44, 53, 57, 91, 101, 104, 107, 108, 125, 160, 165, 166, 167, 171, 174, and Senate Joint Resolution 4.
Would anyone like any of the bills removed from the consent list? Representative Clouston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask that we please remove Senate File 34 from the consent list.
Senate File 34 will be removed from the consent list. Any other members would like to remove a? Well, yeah, go ahead, Representative Jarvis. Representative Jarvis.
Thank you, Speaker. Can I remove Senate File 44 from the
If
consent list?
If you wish, Senate File 44? Okay, Senate File 44 has been removed from the consent list. Any others removed from the consent list? Seeing none? Okay, here's what I have, ladies and gentlemen. We are acting on Senate File 10, 38, 53, 57, 91, 101, 104, 107, 108, 125, 160, 165, 166, 167, 171, 174, and Senate Joint Resolution 4. Yep, no problem. You'll need to read them in. Reading clerk, please.
Senate File 10, sponsored by Judiciary, settlement agreements for minors, parental authorization, and act relating to children being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 38, sponsored by Appropriations, performance compensation, investment performance amendment, an act relating to the administration of government being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 53, sponsored by Corporations, trademarks and trade names, administrative cancellation, an act relating to trade and commerce being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 57, sponsored by Corporations, 911 service reporting, an act relating to emergency telephone service being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 91, sponsored by Select Tribal, petroglyph, pictograph, and historic inscription protection, an act relating to crimes and offenses in state lands being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 101, sponsored by Senator Landon, post-conviction DNA testing procedure amendments, an act relating to criminal procedure being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 104, sponsored by Senator Crago, probate code revisions, an act relating to the probate code being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 107, sponsored by Senator Nethercott, freedom to work and build business, an act relating to miscellaneous contracts and actions being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 108, sponsored by Senator Barlow, recreation safety, agro-tourism, an act relating to recreation safety being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 125, sponsored by Senator Steinmetz, defining health care and protecting the people's welfare, an act relating to status and rules of construction being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 160, sponsored by Senator Olson, treatment courts, amendments 2, an act relating to courts being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 165, sponsored by Senator Pearson, cancellation of registration notice amendments, an act relating to elections being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 166, sponsored by Senator Pearson, political party formation amendments, an act relating to elections being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 167, sponsored by Senator Dockstader, Board of Chiropractic Examiners, Criminal History Records, an act relating to professions and occupations being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 171, sponsored by Senator Nethercott, City and Town Regulatory Reduction, an act relating to cities and towns being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate File 174, sponsored by Senator Driscoll, Constitutional Apportionment 2, an act relating to state legislative districts being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming. Senate Joint Resolution 4, sponsored by Senator Pearson. Resolution on commercial-based load power generation. A joint resolution requesting the governor concentrate on promoting stable dispatchable base load power resources from Wyoming in lieu of taxpayer subsidized commercial wind and solar generated power, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
Okay, having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall these bills pass the House? Chief Clerk, will please call the roll.
Allemand. Andrew. Angelos. Banks. Bear. Brady. Bratton. Brown Gary. Brown Landon. Byron. Campbell Elisa. Campbell Kevin. Chestick. Clauston. Connolly. Davis. Eklund. Erickson. Feiler. Geringer. Guggenmass. Haraldson. Harshman. Heiner. Heft. Jarvis. Johnson. Kelly. Knapp. Larson Lloyd. Larson JT. Lawley. Lean. Locke. Lucas, excused. McCann. Nicholas. Ottman. Pendergraft. Posey. Provenza. Riggins. Rodriguez Williams. Schmid. Sherwood. Singh. Smith. Storer. Excused. Strock. Stivar. Tarver. Thayer. Washut. Wasserberger. Webb. Weber. Worf. Williams. Winter. Wiley. Yin. Mr. Speaker. Clauston, excused to aye. Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 60 aye, 2 excused. As for Senate File 10, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 60 aye, 2 excused. As for Senate File 38, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 60 aye, 2 excused. As for Senate File 53, are there any changes? Lean, aye to no. Chestick, aye to no. Provenza, aye to no. Brady, aye to no. Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 56 aye, 4 no, 2 excused. As for Senate File 57, are there any changes? Lean, aye to no. Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 59 aye, 1 no, 2 excused. As for Senate File 91, are there any changes? Kelly, aye to no. Smith, aye to no. Andrew, aye to no. Brady, aye to no. Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 56 aye, 4 no, 2 excused. As for Senate File 101, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 60 aye, 2 excused. As for Senate File 104, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 60 aye, 2 excused. As for Senate File 107, are there any changes? Pendergraft, aye to no. Bear, aye to no. Lean, aye to no. Haroldson, aye to no. Strock, aye to no. Smith, aye to no. Brown, Gary, aye to no. Stivar, aye to no. Bratton, aye to no. Allemand, aye to no. Locke, aye to no. Winter, aye to no. Guggenmoss, aye to no. Weber, aye to no. Heft, aye to no. Rodriguez-Williams, aye to no. McCann, aye to no. Brady, aye to no. Heiner, aye to no. Schmid, aye to no. Further changes. Ottman, aye to no. Further changes. Closing vote. Vote closed. 39 aye, 21 no, 2 excused. As for Senate File 108, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 60 aye, 2 excused. As for Senate File 125, are there any changes? Nicholas, aye to no. Jarvis, aye to no. Campbell Elisa, aye to no. Chestick, aye to no. Provenza, aye to no. Sherwood, aye to no. Posey, aye to no. Byron, aye to no. Yin, aye to no. Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 51 aye, 9 no, 2 excused. As for Senate File 160, are there any changes? Pendergraft, aye to no. Lean, aye to no. Angelos, aye to no. Bear, aye to no. Haroldson, aye to no. Strock, aye to no. Smith, aye to no. Campbell Kevin, aye to no. Knapp, aye to no. Brown Gary, aye to no. Johnson, aye to no. Riggins, aye to no. Allemand, aye to no. Locke, aye to no. Winter, aye to no. Guggenmoss, aye to no. Weber, aye to no. McCann, aye to no. Schmid, aye to no. Webb, aye to no. Brady, aye to no. Heiner, aye to no. Nyman, aye to no. Further changes? Further changes. Closing vote. Vote closed. 38 aye, 22 no, 2 excused. As for Senate File 165, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 60 aye, 2 excused. As for Senate File 166, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 60 aye, 2 excused. As for Senate File 167, are there any changes? Andrew, aye to no. Kelly, aye to no. Strock, aye to no. Smith, aye to no. Further changes? Allemand, aye to no. Closing vote. Vote closed. 55 aye, 5 no, 2 excused. As for Senate File 171, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Bratton, aye to no. Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 59 aye, 1 no, 2 excused. As for Senate File 174, are there any changes? Brown, Landon, aye to no. Singh, aye to no. Geringer, aye to no. Filer, aye to no. Eklund, aye to no. Nicholas, aye to no. Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 54 aye, 6 no, 2 excused. As for Senate Joint 4, are there any changes? Larson, Lloyd, aye to no. Provenza, aye to no. Yin, aye to no. Nicholas, aye to no. Connolly, aye to no. Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 55 aye, 5 no, 2 excused.
Having received the affirmative vote of the majority of the members elected to the House, Senate Files 10, 38, 53, 57, 91, 101, 104, 107, 108, 125, 160, 165, 166, 167, 171, 174, and Senate Joint Resolution Number 4 have passed the House. Moving on to bills on third reading and final passage, regular list. First bill for our consideration, Senate File 22. Reading clerk.
Senate File 22, sponsored by Senator Schuler. Ground for termination of parental rights, guardianship, an act relating to children being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
We have amendments. Representative Filer, please. Amendment number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move third reading amendment to Senate File 22 and ask for y'all's favorable consideration and kind of to explain this amendment to y'all. What we're doing in this amendment is aligning the months that somebody would have a child with a family member to align with the department or the department that handles our family stuff. What it does is, because if you have a child that's in foster care right now, there's actually, it's a faster path for somebody that's a foster parent that might not even be related to the child to actually terminate through the course the parental rights of somebody that's unfit to their child and move on towards maybe adoption and things like that. They actually have a faster track in order to do that than, say, a family member or grandparent, aunt, uncle, something like that. And it also, in this amendment, Mr. Speaker, is it also kind of gives us a little bit of a definition of what unfit. I heard a lot of arguments about that yesterday, what unfit is, but I think it leaves it a little bit broad to allow our judges some discretion on this when we're talking about terminating parental rights for a child. And what it says is the unfit includes the ability to meet the ongoing physical, mental, and emotional needs of a child. So I think that leaves that open and kind of gives us something to go off of to understand, what's probably best for the child. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I'll take any questions.
Members for the first time. Representative Chestik, sir, for your first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to divide the amendment.
Okay.
The first division would be lines 4 through 20. Second division would be lines 21 and 22 through 23.
It's divisible. Which division would you like to take first, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's take division number 1 first. Members, the division here, as the good bringer of the amendment suggested, there's two different things going on in this bill. One is to define what unfit means, and the other is to change the length of time that a parent has to, or grandparent has to wait to invoke this provision. I'm objecting to the first division because I don't think it's necessary. The term unfit parent is a term that's well understood in the courts.
Representative Chesek, I don't mean to break your train of thought, but I do have a question for you. What do you want to do with lines 1 through 3? They are all part of Division 2?
Yes, I guess that would be part of the.
That is part of
yeah,
Division 2 then.
Yeah, let's put that in Division 2.
Okay, very good, sir. Continue on.
Thank you. So the courts already have a very robust understanding of what unfit parents are. These cases are very fact-intensive. They depend so much on the individual circumstances that courts alone are capable of discerning. Every case is different. Every fact pattern is different. And the factors that courts take into consideration in determining what an unfit parent is are something that courts have struggled with and developed for over a long period of time. And I don't really want to get in the business of telling courts how to determine who's fit and who's unfit. I think the common law is very robust. They're in a better position to make these determinations. And every time we enact a bill that is what we call in derogation of the common law, we do have the power to do that as a legislature. But then are there unintended consequences of doing that? Are we upsetting all of the common law? I understand that the amendment is very vague. The standard we're providing is very vague. Therefore, I just don't think it's necessary. And I would therefore urge a no vote on Division 1.
Thank you, Representative. On Division 1, Representative Provenza.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and against Division 1, I think when we put into the law that what this definition is, one, you are either tying the hands of the court or you're potentially setting them up to terminate parental rights more so than we may be intended in this bill. I mean, when you look at the language, to meet the ongoing physical, mental, and emotional needs of the child, you know, I think about people that are going through severe hardship. Maybe someone's spouse died, the co-parent of that child, and they are struggling. They're doing their very best, but they're struggling to meet the emotional needs of their child. Is that a case where terminating parental rights is a good idea? And I would argue absolutely not. How can we help meet the emotional needs of that child while also supporting the parent? So I think there's some pretty serious unintended consequences with this, and which is why I think there's ample case law and the courts have needed to make this decision, because family court is complicated, right? So I would urge a no vote on this division and the amendment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Bratton, for your first time.
Thank you, Speaker. I also urge a no vote on this, both parts of this amendment, but this is a radical change to this bill in the 11th hour after only a few minutes of debate, so I would urge a no vote. Thank you.
Other members for their first time? First time. Seeing none, second time? Speaking to the amendment, Division 1? Representative Filer. Oh, I'm sorry. Why was I thinking you were for a second time? Okay. So you were the bringer. Okay. Representative Filer, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just to let everybody know, I understand that argument on Division 1. I really do. But we did hear a lot of talk yesterday about, you know, what is the definition of unfit, right? So I was trying to be pretty broad with the definition to where it allowed the ability to meet the ongoing physical, mental, and emotional needs of a child. I think that encompasses almost everything imaginable, but it allows that court and that judge to still be able to make a determination on that within those things right there, because that's what they're probably doing now anyways. They're probably looking at the ongoing physical, mental, emotional needs of a child in order to see if there's a parent unfit. Those are the things that they are doing already. So I was just trying to help the folks in this body to kind of give us something to go off of, because it was asked yesterday that there is no definition of unfit. So I guess just vote your conscience on the Division 1 there, Mr. Speaker.
Any others? Seeing none, second time? None? Divider? Representative Chestic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I still just urge a no vote. Every time we pass a bill in derogation of the common law, the court interpreting that is going to have to think, well, what were they trying to do? And if what we're trying to do is nothing, then why do it at all? And I don't think this amendment really does anything at all that's good. I think it does at best nothing. But we're creating an issue for court later on that we don't need to create. I urge a no vote on Division 1.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're voting on third reading amendment number 1 to Senate File number 22, Division 1, bearing in mind, Division 1 is lines 4 through 20, First Division. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. Division 1 has not been adopted. On to Division 2. Ladies and gentlemen, Representative Chestic, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I urge an aye vote on Division 2. I do think aligning this with the DFS standard, which is in another section of this bill, of the original statute, I think is a good thing, and I urge an aye vote on Division 2.
Thank you, Representative. Anybody for their first time? Representative Lloyd for his first time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd encourage a no vote on this. If anything, it ought to be flopped the other way. And maybe we can do that next year in a bill, but I think having a little time over this interim to visit with that agency or that department that oversees that and try to conform that, let's make sure that we're doing this correctly. I'd rather give the parents a longer opportunity to get things rectified, get their lives in order than cutting it short. So I'd encourage a no vote.
Any other members? Representative Kelly, first time, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Exactly what the good rep said.
Any other members? First time. Representative Washington. Please.
So I'm trying to understand why we would want to oppose this amendment and have a standard that a foster person or a stranger would have the ability to adopt this child after 15 of 22 months, but a grandparent or an uncle or an aunt would not be eligible for 36 months. Somebody can help me out there. It seems to me that this amendment makes a great deal of sense. And keeping in mind that the parent involved here has to be determined by the court to be unfit before this applies. So help me out.
Any other members? Pendergraft, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and against this division, it just seems to me that we're talking about a very permanent thing here when you take away parenthood. It needs to be done cautiously and with deliberation. And also, we heard this morning, the person that brought the prayer, that they changed their life. You just never know exactly when somebody's going to actually change their life. And sometimes you have to be brought down to the lowest of lows before you come to that point. And a little bit of patience, a little bit of endurance might just restore a family. And I would always hold out hope for that.
Representative Provenza, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On and against the division, I talked a little bit, ample evidence that trying to make sure that we reunify children and support their families and keeping that family intact is important. And I think potentially what we're looking at is evidence that maybe this bill's a little bit more complicated than we should be pushing through this body. It was an interim conversation, but it was brought by some folks that were aggrieved, and while my heart is with them, and I think we need to look for ways to support families in these situations, like I said, there's a lack of people that are coming forward to say the process has worked well for them because they don't know what we're doing today. They're not impacted. Things worked out well. They reunified with their children. They're on a path to a greater future. So I think I'm going to urge a no vote on the division and probably against the bill.
Any other members for their first time? Representative Davis, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm on and for this. I think there needs to be some consistency there for us as grandparents to be able to address this. I mean, if we're talking that the division that takes care of those children can have them before I can, those are my grandchildren. I think I am the one that should be able to have that first in time, first in line. And as far as the children, I'm a father too. No matter what, oh my goodness, this is terrible. No matter what your children do, they're still yours. So, anyway.
Any other representative for their first time? Representative Bratton, first time.
I urge a no vote on this amendment. I stand by supporting the length and time to give those parents a chance to reunite, and to retain their parental rights with those children. I talked yesterday and the day before about the tolling issue. Having a little bit longer time helps take care of that situation. Please vote no on this amendment.
Any other representative? Representative Fowler.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. One thing I love about this body is that we are compassionate towards parents, that we actually think about the parents. But let's think about a kid. Let's just get this very as simple as it can be. A child gets taken from a bad situation, put into the custody of the department that handles our families, goes most likely possibly to a foster home. The child may or maybe not know who the foster parents are or who the family is of the child. But with what's written in the state of Wyoming right now, guys, is if in a 22-month period, if there is 15 months of no contact from that child's parent that you have in your foster care, consecutively 15 months out of 22, and they are deemed unfit, the family that child never even knew has more rights than the child's family. What this amendment does is tries to allow and line up those dates, because if we go 36 months out for an aunt, an uncle, even I think a step-parent, a grandparent, right, that's taking care of somebody's child, and their parent was found by the courts unfit, they have to wait 36 months. So we're saying that we care about parents and we want them to wait, or we want to give them 36 months, but if they're in foster care, we're telling them we're only going to give you 15 months. How is this unfair or equitable in any way, shape, or form for a family member? And also, don't forget, guys, family members, just like a good representative choked up a little bit over there about, your kids are your kids. You don't get to choose your family all the time, but I could tell you, who's going to be more prone to allowing even if that parent deemed unfit and they changed their life later on down the road, completely changed their life, to allow them to come over on Thanksgiving dinner with that child. If a foster family who never even knew the family gets these rights, what makes you think they're ever going to invite that parent over? Your family is, what I'm trying to do here, folks, is keep that family molded together. That child needs to know where they came from, who they're being raised by. They know that their family loves them. That gives them the more emotional support that that child most definitely needs. But to give the foster system and a foster parent of somebody that's not related at all, maybe never even met them, a faster path, but we don't give the family a grandparent. I don't know how many of y'all are grandparents, but I'm one. And if anything was ever to happen or go bad like that, I definitely want to be the first one. I want to take care of my granddaughter. If something happened to one of my sisters or whatever, I'd take care of my nephews. I'd want to be that person. And I'd want those opportunities to take care of that child and raise them. But I would also, because I'm related to them, give them that opportunity later if they did change their life, because we are family. Like the old saying, blood's thicker than water. So let's not keep, I mean, vote your conscience on this, but to say 36 months for a family member, but 15 months if you're just a foster parent. Let's think about that a little bit. I say we align those up. Let's make them the same. It's equitable across the board. Grandparents, family members, everybody knows where they stand. And also, at the end of the day, the court has to deem the parent unfit. It's not just grandparents taking care of a kid for a couple years because maybe somebody got deployed and hey, you haven't been around for a couple years, we're just going to take your kid. It's not what this does. So on and for this, number 2 on the division, and on and for the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Any other members for their first time? First time, we're still working on first time. None? Second time, Representative Provenza.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So this bill is dealing with private affairs, essentially. So this isn't about DFS taking kids out and putting them in grandparents' homes. These kids are with their grandparents through a decision that's been made by grandparents and parents. They've taken in the kid. They're not being removed from their home by the state agency because of other issues, right? So I don't know that it makes sense to make the argument that we should make it equitable. Because by the time that our agency that oversees families gets involved with a child that they then remove and place in foster care, they have other ample evidence before making that decision. We're not sure what all the different things that went into a kid leaving their parents' house and moving in with their grandparents. Could be a whole lot of different things, but I think that they are different. We're talking about private matter and comparing it to when the state is saying, for the best interest of a child, for the safety of a child, we have to remove them. Those are different. So there should be a longer time frame in terminating parental rights when the state wasn't involved in the first place and doesn't have all the ins and outs. So I don't think it's quite accurate to say, let's make it equitable, because I think they're two different conversations and two different scenarios.
Second time. Any other members for the second time? Representative Washut for your second time, sir.
Okay, so let's think about these 2 scenarios. In one scenario, the child is removed from the home by the department that deals with abuse and neglect and those situations, placed into foster care. If they meet the criteria of existing statute after 15 months of no contact and the parent's deemed unfit, the child is eligible to be adopted by a complete stranger. That's the law. On the flip side, in scenario 2, the child is in the custody or the care of the grandparents or the aunt and uncle because of whatever reason, mom and dad aren't providing for the well-being of that child. And what this is saying is, look, there should be the same length of time. If we're going to let a complete stranger adopt this child after 15 months of no contact by the parent while they're in foster, why wouldn't we give a similar time frame for the grandparents, for the aunt and uncle, for the family members? In either scenario, the child is outside of the home where we would normally expect them to be. They're not receiving the care and nurturing that we would expect them to get in a home. But in one case, they're in the foster system. And in the other case, they're in a family, their family, aunts, uncles, grandparents, family members. I just, for the life of me, can't imagine why one standard should apply for a complete stranger to adopt this child out of foster, different from the adoption by a loving grandparent. I don't follow it. On and for the division.
Any other member for their second time? Representative Larson Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The difference is the good previous speaker, 2 speakers ago, brought out is because we're talking apples and oranges here. And we understand that it's a child. But when a child is taken out of the home by an agency, the agency has a responsibility to reunify that child back with the family. And so during the duration of that time that the child is out of the home, per the state agency's directive, they have responsibilities to continually make efforts in a variety of ways. If you go to 14.3.440, it identifies those things that the state agency is responsible for on an ongoing basis to demonstrate why the family or why the parents haven't met the requirements that would allow reunification. If we go to a family member that has been designated a guardian, they don't have to do any of that. There aren't any requirements for them that the child can live there up to this 36 months, and the parent, the guardian, isn't responsible to reach out to the family once. It talks about in this bill that they're deemed unfit, but that might be solely determined by the action of the parent, not any effort by the guardian to reunify. So there is a difference. So there is a difference. Me and the joke teller are shaking heads at opposite of each other here. Now, the other, so I think that going to the good speaker of judiciary, who frankly always uses a great deal of logic in his conversation, says, well, why would we allow this require a longer length of time over a shorter length of time in the longer length of time being a family member, in addition to what I've just explained to you and the difference being? I think that is the question, and maybe we need to extend the amount that the length of time in the agency, but I don't think that we do it today. And so there could be some nonconformity, or there could be this conflict, but it's only in one section of the statute. I think that's a fair conversation, but I don't think it should happen today on that. And so I think moving the bill as without the amendment is the most appropriate way. Thank you.
Any other member for their second time? Representative Kelly, for your second time, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I again must concur with the representative with the angelic singing voice that this is definitely the way to go forward. I know what we're worried about here. We conjure images in our head of state agencies breaking down doors and taking kids away from parents, and I understand the opposition to this bill and to the amendment in general. The concern is this inconsistency between what happens with foster care and what happens when a relative already has guardianship and the parent has already been deemed unfit at this point. But again, if there's a discrepancy there, we should look at raising the standard to remove parental rights under foster care rather than lower the standard when family is involved.
Any other member for their second time? Representative Filer, please.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. And I got some pushback, just a little. But so we just heard that private matter, state matter. That's what we heard. That's what the apples and oranges that we're arguing here. The state's already been involved in this bill. A court of this state has to prove a parent unfit. So the state's involved. So it's apples and apples when it comes to that. Also, when the state removes a child from their parent, whether they're going to go to foster care or whatever it might be, most likely the state has high probability or evidence of a parent being unfit. They don't just walk in and the state decides to just take your kid just for whatever reason. They have to prove through a court they're unfit. So they do the same exact thing. This is where the bill aligns together, and this is why these timelines should align together, because the state is involved. If the court is involved, the state is involved. If that department up there that handles our family stuff gets involved, the state is involved. On both sides of this coin, the state is involved. So to say that, there's two separate things, it's not. It's just a good thing that hopefully a lot of these kids will get to go with their family member and have less rights for those family members. Or do they go to foster care, where the foster care parents have a lot more rights than their. So if we're talking about keeping families together, this is a great path of doing that. Is people shaking their head at me? I don't know. But I do believe that argument is the fact that the court is involved or that department is involved, that is state influence onto that child's life. So I do believe we're talking about apples and apples here. We're just giving the family member the same opportunity as a foster care parent. That's all we're doing here. So on and for this, Mr. Speaker, and on and for the bill.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for their second time? None? Representative Chestic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, body, for this great discussion. Very good points made on both sides. It's a tough case, but I can't say it any better than the bringer of the amendment did. I would urge an aye vote on Division 2.
Members, you're voting on third reading amendment number 2 to Senate file number 22, Division 2. Now, Division 2 is lines 1 and 3 and 21 through 23. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. No. Division 2 has not been adopted. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next amendment for our consideration. Third reading amendment number 2 to Senate file 22. Representative Washut, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move third reading amendment number 2 to this bill and ask for a favorable consideration. So what this does is takes us back to the original language, the original 24 months from the 36 months, trying to find a little happy medium here. not the 15 months that's the standard by the agency for strangers to adopt these children, but not making grandparents and loving family members wait 3 years before they become eligible to adopt a child that they love from an unfit parent. That's all the amendment does. Ask your favorable consideration.
Any members for their first time? Representative Jarvis, first time? There you go. Representative Jarvis, please.
Thank you, Speaker. So I didn't fully understand what this bill was doing, and I was trying to really wrap my brain around why we were discussing like the amendments on moving things from 3 years to 2 years versus the 15 months. And I think the clarity came today when we started talking about the involvement of a state agency versus just family matters. I can speak on a personal level, like you don't have to go through the courts to give guardianship. There was a time that I actually gave co-guardianship to my mother because I was traveling for work so much. And it was really nice to have somebody else who could take them to the doctor and take care of all the matters at the school and make sure that that my children had somebody who was a legal guardian who could serve in the same capacity as their parents. So there are those situations, and I do respect the idea that when you're going to remove, and just a little context, I have a parent who has fostered 56 foster children in her lifetime. And I grew up in a home that always had foster children in it. And so I'm very familiar with this world and how that works and the data and the sending kids back and then getting them back and then sending them back and then getting them back. And my thought was when I really looked at this amendment and was, why would we extend this out for 2 years for parents and back again? It's the data collection that goes with this. There are many situations where this amendment is really advantageous and beneficial to stick children with a guardian who is from their family, who loves and adores them and is connected to them in ways that sometimes non-biological family members can be. But it also opens up those battles of those situations that what a family deems as unfit is not necessarily what the courts would deem unfit. And so this bill to me, or in this amendment, when I look at it on a 2-year time period, it really falls on the family members to be able to prove what is unfit. And it doesn't have the data of a state agency. And if you've ever seen family battles, there's a lot of accusations and a lot of things that can go wrong for the courts. So now I'm fully understanding why we're having this conversation. But there's nothing in this amendment or bill that speaks to having the longevity of the data to actually prove what unfit is. And I appreciate what it's doing, but it has the potential to be abused, significantly abused also on the flip side with the way that it's written right now. So I think overall, I think we can do better and really hold to parental rights.
Any other members? Second time. Oh, this is first time. Hold on, wrong line. First time. Representative Filer, please.
Mr. Speaker, on and for this amendment, and some of the arguments that we just heard, and it's, there's a lot of different situations here. Yes, you can sign over a guardianship or something like that, or a temporary guardianship. Absolutely correct. You can, and responsible folks do it all the time in case, whether it's a work-related issue or whatever it might be. I've seen this many times in my life. But what we're talking about here is when a court deems somebody unfit. We're not talking about if a family member deems you unfit. A family member can't deem you unfit. A court does. So that's what we're talking about here. The court has to be involved to deem a parent unfit. I totally get the other arguments of signing over a little bit of guardianship. And yes, you can sign over full guardianship if you want to. And don't even get the courts involved at all. Does that happen every day? Does it happen in every case? No, not even close. Not even close. So, but I think that's where we got to separate, folks, is that the court, and I think that's the part we got to really focus on, is the court has to be involved. The state has to be involved in order for these rights to go into effect. So the court, a judge, somebody, has to prove somebody unfit, not a family member. Family members don't get to choose that. That is a court. So on and for this amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Any other members for the first time? Representative Bratton, please.
On and against the amendment to change it from 3 years back to 2 years. Family relationships can be the most contentious of all. And those family relationships, they're the most emotionally charged. Say a relative disagrees with how a child is being raised and they think they know better, and they disagree so much that they go to court to take away the kids. I mean, we have to balance these things. And just like we talked about on the previous amendment, which had more to do with that department that oversees our families, now we are looking at, a grandparent who has taken, or an aunt, a family member who's taken in a child and it isn't involved in that agency. So I would again ask to keep it at 36 months. On and against the.
Any other members? First time. Any other members? Seeing none, second time. Representative Filer.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. I'll just make this real quick. Yeah, I mean, where did those dates come from? What's the 1 year extra? Where? What data? What shows? We are about parental rights. And I think that's what this bill is. Allowing a child to have that family bond with their family, who would be definitely more open to allowing somebody that changed their life to come back into their life. That's what we're doing here. And the 24 months gives the security and the stability to that child. And to the grandparent or aunt and uncle. Gives them that security of knowing, okay, it's been 2 years, nobody's come around. What if we keep it at 36 months? 35th month, somebody decides to show up and say, hey, I've changed my life, can we go out for a weekend? They go out for a weekend, come to find out, maybe they didn't change their life. So now it starts all over again, another 3 years. Let's think about this just a little bit, just level-headedness on this. In the testimony we heard from a grandparent, some testimony that I've heard from somebody I know personally, actually 2 different families that I know personally. You know the years of heartache they've had to go through? They raised their niece from when she was barely 3 months old. 11 years have gone by. They were never able to adopt because of all the different processes and everything else. They were never, all the different court hearings, thousands of dollars in attorney fees. And then the court says, you know what? I think mom is doing great. 11 years, one of my good friends raised this little girl as his daughter. Had to turn that daughter back over to that parent. Hoping that the courts and everybody else said, nope, this is great. She's going to be perfect. She's down south of here, and now they're going through another court case because they found drugs and everything on her mom. Wouldn't it have been better to have them allow them to be able to adopt this little girl and allow that parent to come back in her life under a structured way? It would have been. But he doesn't see her as his niece. I'm telling you that right now. That's his little girl. That's his daughter. And there's nothing he can do about it right now. Absolutely nothing. Because now she's in another state. They have to fight it there and get it everything back here again. But he could have had this taken care of years ago when the mom was nowhere in sight for years and years and years and just shows back up. Folks, let's do what's right for the child here. And let's just keep, I think 24 months is a good happy medium in between. You know, I was just trying to line things with the other amendment to equal DFS and give everybody the same, you know, timeline. But I think 24 months is good. So I'm in favor of this, Mr. Speaker.
Any other members for the second time? Second time? Seeing none, go on Representative Washit, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So if what we were talking about here was just a pure timeline, child gets, or grandma gets guardianship, 24 months later, we can have termination of parental rights. It's not what we're talking about. We have that 24-month period and a determination that the parent is unfit. It's a two-pronged test. You have to have both, 24 months and unfit declaration by the court. In my book, if I have the choice between a loving grandparent or aunt or uncle, and I have an unfit parent who's been out of the picture for 24 months, am I comfortable having that child adopted by that loving grandparent or relative? I am. But let me conclude today by saying I want to take my hat off, big shout out to those district court judges who deal with these family law questions on a regular basis. They are always the most gut-wrenching topics that come before the committee number one. I would not want to be a family law judge for love nor money. What tough calls they have to make. But when we have an unfit parent who's been out of the picture for 24 months, let's give that kiddo the opportunity for a stable relationship with a relative. 24 months is ample time when we're dealing with an unfit parent. Please vote aye on the amendment.
Body, you are voting on third reading amendment number 2 to Senate File 22. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. Amendment has been adopted. Okay, that's the last amendment on 22. So Senate File 22 having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall the bill pass? Chief Clerk will please call the roll.
Elliman? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown, Gary? Brown, Landon? Byron? Campbell, Elisa? Campbell, Kevin? Chestick? Clauston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson. Feiler. Geringer. Guggenmoss. Haroldson. Harshman. Heiner. Heft. Jarvis. Johnson. Kelly. Knapp. Larson Lloyd. Larson JT. Lawley. Lean. Locke. Lucas excused. McCann. Nicholas. Ottman. Pendergraft. Posey. Provenza. Riggins. Rodriguez Williams. Schmid. Sherwood. Singh. Smith. Storer. Excused. Oh, Storer. Strock. Stivar. Tarver. Thayer. Washut. Wasserberger. Webb. Weber. Worf. Williams. Winter. Wiley. Yin. Mr. Speaker, are there any changes? Singh excused to aye. Bratton, aye to no. Jarvis, aye to no. Larson Lloyd, no to aye. Guggenmoss, aye to no. McCann, no to aye. Allemand, no to aye. Johnson, aye to no. Brown, Gary, aye to no. Further changes? Connolly, aye to no. Further changes? Further changes. Closing vote. Vote closed. 44 aye, 17 no, 1 excused.
Senate File 22, having received the affirmative vote of the majority of the members elected to the House, Senate File 22 has passed the House. Next Senate file for our consideration, Senate File 34.
Senate File 34, sponsored by School Facilities, School Finance, Routine and Major Maintenance Calculations, an act relating to K through 12 public school finance, being enacted by the legislature of the state of Wyoming.
Representative Yin. Please proceed. Representative Clouston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank this body for your work and support. I move third reading.
Amendment number 1.
Amendment number 1, thank you, to Senate File 34, and ask for your favorable consideration. I want to thank this body for its work and support in fully funding the high school in Campbell County. Unfortunately, the body across the hall has now voted twice by the narrow margin of 16 to 15 against providing funding beyond planning and design for this critical project. Today, I bring forward this amendment for $20 million to secure the minimum funding needed to begin the initial phases of demolition and construction. This investment is essential to prevent unnecessary delays and rising costs. Without full funding, we will be forced to bring this request back during next year's budget session, where it will require a 2/3 vote, creating an even greater hurdle for an already urgent need. Frankly, it's astonishing to me that we find ourselves in this position. This school has undergone 3 separate Mercer studies, yet just last year, 2 schools were fully funded without even completing a Mercer study. Neither one is even done at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, this state has the funds available to fully support this project. It's simply a matter of fairness and prioritization. With this amendment, if the body across the hall ultimately aligns with our commitment to fully funding this school, they can vote against this amendment that I bring forward today. However, until that happens, this measure ensures that we stay on track and avoid costly setbacks for our students, our teachers, and our community. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask for your support on this. It's $20 million. It will get the school started. The demolition will start, and it'll be a 6 to 8 month advancement. Without this money, that school is going to be in the condition it is for an extra 6 to 8 months. Construction costs will go up. They'll have to do heating and tenting to try to get some of this started. So again, I ask for your support one more time on this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Yin, for your first time.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Speaker, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I put my name on this because it is an emergency. You've seen the photos. There is essentially sewage leaking out of the school. If we don't deal with this, the kids are going to have to put up with it for another year. Let's get this started now. We have a way to do it. Let's just get it done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any other members for the first time? Representative Harshman?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a question for the sponsor, and of course, this body supported this project, but there's really two projects. There's the bus barn, and then the school, obviously a large school, Campbell County. And so just wondering how the kind of total dollars that are currently in the bill, just remind us, because it seems like we appropriated the money, made it through for the bus barn. And would this be then the planning kind of design for the high school? Or is this for everything? For the start of the bus barn and kind of getting the school off. So anyway, just give us a little more detail, the total dollars out there and where this 20 fits in. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any others for their first time? No others, second time? Representative Yin.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. So just as it says in the amendment, it is for the demolition and site planning. So this is basically to get the process started for both the school and the facility. So a little broader than just the bus barn, but still something that I think we all know is needed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Clouston, unless Representative Harshman wants to speak again. Okay, Representative Clouston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To answer the question, what the Senate has done is they've appropriated the money for the bus barn and that facility, and they've appropriated money to start the design and planning of the high school, but no construction costs, which is going to put us back about 6 to 8 months on building. You know, I think the bus barn was around 13 million, design and planning's about another 7, so there's about 20 in the Senate's, the body across the hall's appropriation. This would be $20 million to get the project started. You know, total, this is, I think, a $144 million project. And that's what we had fully funded in this body. The money's there. We know it is. It's ready to go. It's had its studies. We've heard from everybody that this needs done. I mean, I feel like it's a little bit of a political football. But this $20 million is the money needed to start the demolition and the initial construction. So this money will get the project underway.
Body, you're voting on third reading amendment number 1 to Senate File 34. This is an appropriation, so this will be a roll call. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Allemand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clouston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Feiler? Ickeringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT. Lawley. Lean. Locke. Lucas excused. McCann. Nicholas. Ottman. Pendergraft. Posey. Provenza. Riggins. Rodriguez Williams. Rodriguez Williams. Schmid. Sherwood. Singh. Smith. Storer. Strock. Stivar. Tarver. Thayer. Washut. Wasserberger. Webb. Weber. Worf. Williams. Winter. Wiley. Yin. Mr. Speaker. Are there any changes? Are there any changes? Andrew, no to aye. Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 35 aye, 26 no, 1 excused.
By your vote, you have chosen to adopt third reading amendment number 1 to Senate File 34. Okay, I believe that is it on 34 then. Senate File 34 having been read 3 separate times, the question is, shall the bill pass? Chief Clerk will please call the roll.
Alamand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon? Byron? Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clouston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Filer? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas excused. McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins? Rodriguez Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strock? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Wasserberger? Webb? Weber? Worf? Williams? Winter? Wiley? Yin? Mr. Speaker. Are there any changes? Campbell, Kevin, no to aye. Further changes? Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 38 aye, 23 no, 1 excused.
Senate File 34 having received the affirmative vote of the majority of the members of the House, the Senate File 34 has passed the House. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stand at ease briefly here. We've got some veto overrides that we need to do coming to the House, and we kind of are getting in a situation here where we need to be doing this as soon as we possibly can. And so we're going to see if we can actually come up out of third reading here, do the veto overrides, get them to our good members to the west of us, and get that process underway early enough in the day. So we'll be back in a moment. Just stand at ease, please.
Mr. Speaker,
Oh, Representative Ottman.
would this be a time for a privilege of the floor?
Let us work through this, unless you've got something real quick, Representative, do you? Okay, let us work through this up here, get this moving. Okay, Representative Ottman, we're getting ready to get some stuff lined up here, just kind of getting our ducks in a row. If you have a privilege, maybe you'd like to do that right quick, and then we'll get into what we're going to be doing. We're going to be asking for basically, a change or amending the rules here, so.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With this privilege of the floor, in Fremont County, we have a Job Corps Center, and it is just a jewel in that community. Good employers. They were supposed to be down here yesterday, but they have gotten what we experienced earlier, and so they did not want to come down here and spread it. So I would just like to give them a shout out, and I have a little description here because a lot of people don't realize that that center is there, what it represents, who it can provide for. So I'd like to do that for the body. Wind River Job Corps, located on Airport Road in Riverton, Wyoming, provides job skills and trade training to 16 to 24-year-olds living in poverty. They can serve up to 300 campus-based and non-residential students. Currently, their enrollment is at 208 students who generally come to us from Wyoming, Colorado, Montana, Texas, and live in residential dorms. They additionally maintain placements for local students that live with their families and come to Wind River Job Corps each day. They train students to be carpenters, welders, electricians, heavy equipment operators, and/or mechanics, truck drivers, nursing, petroleum, and building construction technologies, as well as ensure a high school diploma and reading and math competencies. They also get students their driver's license if they need it. All of this, the education and training, healthcare, recreation, room and board, are free to the students coming from underserved communities. Their goal is to help these youth find a bright future, placed in a job where they can make a wage that will sustain a life in which they can build a family. Last year in June, U.S. Job Corps, subsidized by the Department of Labor, celebrated 60 years of helping the poor find their way to prosperity, work, and helping America's businesses find a well-skilled workforce. They do not do this alone. They do it with the support of their local community, who provide meaningful work-based learning opportunities for students and job placements with good wages for graduates. Their grads often need additional support for housing and transportation that comes from local employers and others. Wind River Job Corps also contributes significantly to the local economy by being one of the largest employers in Fremont County with just under 150 dedicated employees. The business community liaison, Jerry Pregine, will be sending out a packet to each of you with information and an opportunity to meet with her via WebEx or in person if interested in touring the facility in Riverton. And I just like to say I've toured that facility 2 or 3 times. The hands-on experience that they're getting, they're building, they're training, they're using electrical to actually do hands-on work. It's a good opportunity. They have availability for people. This was, I'll say, brought on by Senator Mike Enzi, so quite a long time ago with his support. And it went into the petroleum industries at a time when that was going right down. But it's here and it's available, and it's wonderful training at a time when we're looking for skilled workers in our workforce. So thank you for that, and hands off to Wind River Job Corps.
Thank you, Representative Ottman. We appreciate that. Recognize those folks for all their efforts and history. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are at an order of business here that we are going to do some veto overrides if this body is willing. This is going to require a suspending of our rules. We're going to have to come out of third reading, suspend the rules, do the veto overrides, and then go back into third reading. But quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, time is of the essence, and we want to try to get this out as soon as we can. These are three particular pieces of legislation that all had veto overrides as they left both bodies. And if you want to look them up, you look under the vetoes or under the amendments on the bill. So if you want to go to the site, look up your amendments. Under the amendments tab on the bill, it will give you the override. So that is what we're doing here. We need all hands on deck. Majority Leader Heiner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to Mason Section 713 and our Rules 1-3, I make a motion to take up the proposal of veto overrides, which is out of order and needs a suspension of rules.
Is there any discussion? Representative Yin.
So, Mr. Speaker, not necessarily against, I think I'll probably still vote for it, but I'm curious on what you say that it has to be done as soon as possible. What is the timing requirement, and why does it have to be done? What is the as soon as, what time frame are we under that we have to get it done right now?
Good. Representative Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Similar question, but I would also ask, not necessarily a statement on for or against the motion of suspending the rules, but if we chose to lay this back until later tonight, I think, just to answer the minority floor leader's question, it certainly puts us in a lot longer situation, and then we have only 2 more days to get this through this body as well as the next body down the hall if they choose to do this, negotiations, those types of things. But my sincere question is, taking this out of order is going to be, there's going to be a lot of debate on all of these, and so would there be the potential of laying back the third reading bills that we currently are debating right now? Because as we look at debating these veto overrides, we're looking at like another really, really late night, considering how many amendments we still have sitting out on the floor in third reading. So,
thank you, Representative. To answer the question, I believe, and from my position as the Speaker of the House, all 3 of these particular pieces of legislation left both bodies with veto-proof majorities. I would hope that there would not be a great deal of debate on these. We've already been thoroughly debated. We've seen what the discussion was. Those amendments are on the bills. We can read those. We double-checked on the votes. The votes were 48-13, 61-0, and 45-16. So well above the veto override limit. Now, if the body wants to go ahead and debate and go into a long series, then I guess that's something that we certainly will have to address. My idea and my issue in this is, ladies and gentlemen, that the Senate's moving on those. We would like to have been moving on these. My hope is that third reading debate was not going to go on quite so long, but it is, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to work through that, and we're going to fully debate these bills and the amendments that are on them. My question is, we want to be able to make sure and get these pieces of legislation that this body voted on with overwhelming veto-proof majorities out of this House to the Senate as soon as possible so that they can make their determination. That is the effort underway. That's what I'm trying to do. And that is a determination of this body. If you guys see fit to support me in that, then let's do that. If not, then we will go on with what we're doing, and we will continue on with progress as normal, and we'll let the body decide. So that's what we're here to do. But it's going to require 2/3. This is not a small ask, and so I just need the body's support to see if you guys want to do this at this time. Any other questions or discussion? Any other question? Discussion? Seeing none? Oh, Representative Yin, please, sir.
For a second time, thank you. So members, the way this process works is that for veto overrides, I think they start in the chamber, the first chamber that the bill started in. So we have three pieces of legislation that were vetoed by the governor. I assume the speaker is talking about those are the three pieces that he would like to see overridden.
That's
So
correct.
those are House Bill 64, chemical abortions ultrasound requirement, House Bill 36, Hathaway scholarship amendments, House Bill 94, charter school authorization amendments. I don't, so given the note from the representative from Laramie County, I'm not interested in laying back any of the other third reading bills to another day. I want to see those bills debated and survive. And so I guess I will vote no on the motion to take this out of order, but, you know, everyone has their choice.
Very good. Absolutely true. Any other members for their discussion? Seeing none, Chief Clerk, please call the roll. This is a motion to suspend the rules. We requires a 2/3 roll call vote. If we decide to do that, then we will proceed on.
Allemande. Andrew. Angelos. Banks. Bear. Brady. Bratton. Brown Gary. Brown Landon. Byron. Campbell Elisa. Campbell Kevin. Chestick. Clauston. Connolly. Davis. Eklund. Erickson. Filer. Geringer. Guggenmoss. Haroldson. Harshman. Heiner. Heft. Jarvis. Johnson. Kelly. Knapp. Larson Lloyd. Larson JT. Lawley. Lean. Locke. Lucas, excused. McCann. Nicholas. Ottman. Pendergraft. Posey. Provenza. Riggins. Rodriguez Williams. Schmid. Sherwood. Singh. Smith. Storer. Strock. Stivar. Tarver. Thayer. Washut. Wasserberger. Webb. Weber. Worf. Williams. Winter. Wiley. Yin. Mr. Speaker. Are there any changes? Are there any changes? Erickson, no to aye. Further changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 47 aye, 14 no, 1 excused.
By your vote, you have chosen to amend the rules,
Suspend.
suspend the rules, and we will be pulling out into Majority Floor Leader, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Article 4, Section 8 and 9 of the Wyoming Constitution, I move that the House of Representatives override the governor's veto of House Enrolled Act Number 35, being original House Bill Number 64, Chemical Abortions Ultrasound Requirement.
Motion to override the governor's veto of House Enrolled Act Number 35, being original House Bill 64, is in order, and the vote to override this debatable and requires a 2/3 majority of the members elected. Members for debate. Representative Yin, please, first time.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. So members, you know this bill. This is the bill from the good speaker that has to do with essentially requiring a transvaginal ultrasound. The one thing that was in the veto letter that we didn't really hear in debate was that we in our abortion ban, if it gets upheld, we even have a carve out for victims of rape and incest. What the bill still requires is even if you are a victim of rape, you still have to have a transvaginal ultrasound. That is the requirement of sticking a wand up inside of you after you have already been raped. I think that's a very important note that we didn't really have in debate, and something to think about on whether you want to override this veto. Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Chairman Rodriguez-Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On and for the veto override. I really wish people or members of this body would quit calling it a wand. That's not what it is. It's a transvaginal transducer. Experts need to know, regardless of the situation that somebody finds themselves, that a woman might find herself in if she was unfortunately raped, if she thinks she's pregnant. Those that are attending to her need to know whether or not the pregnancy is in the right place or not. It's a matter of life or death. And that's what a transvaginal ultrasound does, if they're under 9 weeks. On and for.
Representative Lean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. The bill just simply says ultrasound technology. It doesn't say that it's required to be a transvaginal ultrasound or the proper terminology that was just given to us by the good chairman of labor. I want to say that having had 4 children of my own, I recognize that that is a pretty common occurrence in a very routine pregnancy checkup to justify the gestational age of the fetus that you are carrying. This doesn't require anything additional, and it just says ultrasound. If a doctor is to perform an ultrasound and that fetus does show up, that means you're further along than they anticipated, and that medication is likely not going to work for you. I am on and in favor of the veto override for the health of the baby, the health of the mother, and for those that need the ability to live, because I'm sure grateful that my parents chose to keep me.
Representative Brady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I just want to say that I'm in favor of overriding this governor's veto, and as well, I'm for life, not death, and being one of 11 children in my family, I couldn't imagine this happening. So I ask you to vote in favor of overriding this veto. Thank you.
Speaker Nyman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to take a lot of your time because we know we've got a lot of work to do here today. Let's just boil it right down. This whole bill was designed to be able to provide identification of gestational age in the case that a woman would want to use chemical means to be able to end the life of the baby. That's it. I know we're getting off into other things and stuff like that. We've tried to muddy the waters and everything like that and the means. The reality of it is 63% of the abortions being procured today are through chemical means, and that number is increasing because of the convenience of it, because you can do this without a prescription or doctors or any intervention. Ladies and gentlemen, if we want to get hyperbolic, I'm not even going to get hyperbolic when I'm saying that women can die, can bleed to death from this at home by themselves because they're doing and taking this chemical when the gestational age of the child is too far along. How do we know that? When the companies were putting out this information on these chemicals, there was a requirement to have an ultrasound to even be able to procure the medication. In 2021, that was taken away. That is what this is about. This is about 2 different people. This is about the lady that is in a situation, for whatever purpose that brought her to that situation, she's putting in herself and is in a very difficult place. Are we concerned about her welfare and making sure that she knows the location of the pregnancy and the gestational age of the pregnancy. That's what this is about. So that if you're gonna procure the drugs, and that's the thing that just gets me about this, ladies and gentlemen, we're not stopping you from having the abortion. We're allowing time to be able to find out, and a requirement to say that if you're gonna do this, just make sure it works. And it works the way it's intended. For her safety. It's not for the safety of the baby. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get that clear. This is not for the safety of the baby. This is mostly, on this situation, is for the safety and well-being of the woman that is procuring this situation, this drug. That's the facts. Now, we can get as off as we want on this, but that's the reality of it. That was my heart in this, is that we make sure that we are, as we see this exponential increase in this way of ending the life of the child and providing for that abortion, is at the very least, go back to what the original manufacturers asked for, and that was an ultrasound to make sure of the gestational age of the baby for the woman's safety. Because it is real. It would not, I can momentarily show you videos of the 8 ladies that would be glad to testify about the tragic situations they put themselves through when they didn't realize the gestational age of the child. That's why it's here. If there's abortion that potentially could be prevented from this and a child's life could be saved, I guess I'd have to, figure out what the downside of that is. But the reality of it is, there's not preventing the abortion, it's not stopping the abortion. It's making that because of that situation, they're choosing to have to try to put themselves through or have to deal with as safe as it possibly can be for the mother and make sure that that baby doesn't suffer.
Anyone else for their first time? First time, second time? Minority Floor Leader Yin.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, members, you should Google transvaginal ultrasound. Google what the transducer looks like. It is long and rod-shaped, it's this long, and to the member that says it doesn't say transvaginal ultrasound on the bill, it doesn't, but it still requires it because that's the only way to fulfill the requirements of the legislation, is to use a transvaginal ultrasound. That's why you don't hear the sponsors of the bill denying that it isn't one, because it is. The body down the hall even tried to make a requirement to make it only abdominal ultrasound. That got shot down because that is the only way to fulfill the requirements of the bill. Again, we are talking about the government requiring someone to stick something inside of them. Not only just anybody, but including rape victims. If you thought about having that carve out for the members that have been here for a while, that appreciated the carve out for rape and incest, don't vote for this too. Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Anyone else for their second time? Speaker Nyman.
A surgical abortion is far more intrusive than an ultrasound. So if you want to get right down to it, that's what we're talking about here. Finding out if that's going to be necessary or not. Far more intrusive.
Anyone else for their second time? Seeing no one going to the mic, Chief Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Allemand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown, Gary? Brown, Landon? Byron? Campbell, Elisa? Campbell, Kevin? Chestick? Clauston? Connolly? Repeat? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Feiler? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Harrelson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke. Lucas, excused. McCann. Nicholas. Ottman. Pendergraft. Posey. Provenza. Riggins. Rodriguez Williams. Schmid. Sherwood. Singh. Smith. Storer. Strock. Stivar. Tarver. Thayer. Washut. Wasserberger. Webb. Weber. Worf. Williams. Winter. Wiley. Yin. Mr. Speaker. Are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 45 aye, 16 no, 1 excused.
By your vote, you have voted to override the governor's veto of the House Enrolled Act number 35 being original House Bill number 64. Okay, Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Article 4, Section 8 and 9 of the Wyoming Constitution, I move that the House of Representatives override the governor's veto of House Enrolled Act number 45 being original House Bill 36, Hathaway Scholarship Amendments.
The motion to override the governor's veto of House Enrolled Act number 45 being original House Bill number 36 is in order, and the vote to override the debate is debatable and requires a 2/3 majority of the members elected. Members, Representative Harshman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just to explain a little bit as you look at the Chief Executive's veto message. Members, this bill passed unanimous vote in both houses. And I appreciate the Chief Executive's issue, but I respectfully disagree and include, he went in a little bit about the expansion of the Hathaway, has trouble with that, but then more importantly about is the financial implications that were maybe unsustainable. And I just want to gently kind of push back against that. The Hathaway Scholarship endowment started with $400 million. Looking at today's report on the website for our elected who manages our money, it's grown to $786 million in the corpus. The scholarship awards last year were $16 million. The income exceeded that by over $7 million. And so we're continuing a pretty nice job. I think actually the committee number 4 should look at probably increasing the awards. But what this bill simply did, brought to me by a constituent, these are still graded degree or graded course certificates. They're different than some certificates where you can go a month or two and get a certificate to drive a big truck. These are folks who are licensed by our state to come in and make sure everything runs downhill and that you make sure the black is switched. And so if there was 100 of these people in these programs statewide, the bill simply allows them to take less than half time, less than 6 hours, and still get the award. Many of their classes are 5 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, then they go to on-the-job training, work under a master. These programs last 4 or 5 years. If we had 100 people in Wyoming in these programs, at the highest level in high school, they earned the honor scholarship. They were the top students in the state. It would add another 140,000. Now, keep in mind, last year, our endowment exceeded expenses by over $7 million. The last 4 years, looks about like $28 million exceeded the payouts to the scholarship. So I'd stand for any questions, urge your aye vote to override. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Harshman. Representative Ocean, Andrew, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and in support of the override. In a state where 60% of our open jobs require CTE skills, this bill is an important acknowledgement that pursuing careers in the trades is just as important as any other career path, and it says that Wyoming is going to support that. Please vote to override.
Any other members debate? Discussion. Question being called. Your vote, let's see, the motion to override, blah, 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 blah. Yes, the motion to override the governor's veto, House Enrolled Act 45, being original House Bill number 36. Chief Clerk will call the roll, please.
Allemand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown Gary? Brown Landon, excused. Byron? Campbell Elisa? Campbell Kevin? Chestick? Clauston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Filer? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean? Locke? Lucas, excused. McCann? Nicholas? Ottman? Pendergraft? Posey? Provenza? Riggins? Rodriguez-Williams? Schmid? Sherwood? Singh? Smith? Storer? Strock? Stivar? Tarver? Thayer? Washut? Washburger? Webb? Weber? Worf? Williams? Winter? Wiley? Yin? Mr. Speaker, are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 55 aye, 5 no, 2 excused.
By your vote, you have voted to override the governor's veto of House Enrolled Act number 45, being original House Bill number 36. Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For the final one, pursuant to Article 4, Sections 8 and 9 of the Wyoming Constitution, I move that the House of Representatives override the governor's veto of House Enrolled Act number 47, being original House Bill number 94, Charter School Authorizations Amendments.
The motion to override the governor's veto of House Enrolled Act number 47, being original House Bill number 94, is in order. The vote to override is debatable and requires a 2/3 majority of the members elected. Representative Kelly, first time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This one should be a no-brainer. I mean, it's ironic today we're celebrating educational freedom. There's going to be a signing ceremony. This is just removing an arbitrary number that was given to the authorizing board for charter schools. We're looking here to expand school choice. We're allowing for school districts to take parental applications directly to the state at this point. If for some reason their district has shut down a charter school, it's been a problem in some places, but this by no means there's going to be a flood of charter schools. This is just lifting that arbitrary limit. The authorizing board still has to take applications, and they still have to evaluate and make sure there's a good business plan and make sure they've got a solid curriculum. These are publicly funded schools on top of that. So vote to override the veto, please.
Any other members for their first time? Representative Lawley, I'm sorry, see ya. You are just all but the same color as that pillar right behind you, just a little off. I mean, but for me, maybe I'm just colorblind. Representative Lawley, please
Thank
proceed.
you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to keep that in mind when I need this. What you're telling me, I was camouflaged, so it's good to know. On and for the veto override, again, agree with everything that a previous speaker said. Don't want to belabor that, but this simply gives the opportunity for districts to consider charter schools, and if they're inclined to do so, begin a process that can take over 18 months often. So I do think one of the things I'll just tell you as someone from more of a rural area, that the areas with larger populations, quite frankly, were more ready to start charter schools, and they're ahead. But we've kind of left out the more rural areas. They don't have an opportunity now unless we remove this cap and give them an opportunity to consider how in their districts there might be an opportunity for charter schools. So again, on and in favor of the override. Thank you.
Representative Clouston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In support of the veto on this, simply because 2 years ago, we expanded from 4 charter schools to 8. We had a plan that would look at those 8. We would evaluate cost effectiveness and results, see how well these students and schools operated. So that was the plan. After so many years, we were going to look at the results and then look at this bill that we're currently debating. So I'm going to support the veto on this because that was the original plan. And we have not completed the financial studies. We've also not completed any of the academic studies. Thank you.
Speaker Nyman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. On and against the veto. Ladies and gentlemen, charter schools are not something that you can snap your fingers and just have them up here. These take a lot of time, and in fact, I think you could talk to some of the representatives that have been in the middle of trying to promote or watch their community try to provide a charter school, and where the mountains are sharp just south of them, right down, they're headed out that country along the Snake River. This is, to one good speaker, is the fairly altitude blessed speaker that spoke here earlier. This is school choice. This is the opportunity. We just talked to a group of people here over at the university over the hill. This would provide them with the opportunity to pursue something like this. We're limiting other opportunities that are coming up. If they wanted to pursue that, this bill provides them that opportunity. Right now, we're limited. We're holding the brakes on this. If these folks want to be able to do this, they know full well this is not an easy thing to do, is to do a charter. It's just not. So if anybody tells you that you can just have these appear like amazing things out of the ground, like, you know, mushrooms, they don't. Hard work, a lot of dedication and commitment by communities to make this happen. But they can't do it unless they have the option. We need to override this veto, ladies and gentlemen, and protect the opportunity that people have to be able to provide this different choice in education, depending on the communities. And so, on and against the veto.
Chairman Ocean Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Just one more thing I want to add to this. I don't want to go over anything again, but we do have a full board with staff with the job of authorizing these charter schools. And without this bill, that we cannot authorize any more charter schools at all. We have reached the cap. There are 0. So that's what this bill does. Please support the veto override.
Representative Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. And on in support of the governor's veto override, I'm going to vote no on this. And I think just a couple corrections to the debate. The good representative from Washakie, she said to give districts more opportunity for charters. Districts have unlimited opportunity for charters. That's the way the law has been in Wyoming for decades. District local trustee control of charter schools, we have them in Wyoming already. We had them before we opened up this other deal of a state authorizing board. And so again, I'm all about our local trustees and our local people deciding what's best, not having a state authorizing board. And then I think the good representative from Campbell's right on. And just take this back about 4 or 5 years. The idea was going to be a slow rollout. You know, when we first rolled it out, it was the most expensive part of the education budget. Nobody realized. I didn't realize it was going to cost that much. Hey, this isn't free. You're going to find facilities, and then you're going to start up another school. It's not cheap. But the other deal, if you look at just experience in the Western United States, the 48th state, the last contiguous on the continental United States, and then the state just west of us, just got statehood a little bit before us, one with a big Salt Lake. Man, they had to rein that in. They had the wild, wild west of waste, fraud, and abuse. Incredible. Google it. And had more sideboards than what this bill proposes. And I think in Wyoming, we're a small town with long streets. We're cutting education revenues now as we speak in this 68th legislature. And I think we got to be really careful and watch how this plays out. Might be the greatest thing ever. Might be a big old turd that we don't want. Let's let it play out and watch it. Thank you. On in support of the veto, please vote no.
Anyone else for their first time? First time, Representative or Chairman Rodriguez Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On and for the motion. I was reading the governor's veto, or the chief executive's veto letter, and he states that the financial strain, quotes, "The financial strain on our system combined with the litigation raises concerns about whether Wyoming is fulfilling its constitutional duty to support public schools." So I'd like to push back. I'm a little perturbed about the fact that now we're taking this stance that, or he's taking this stance that educating our children is some sort of strain financially on our system. And really, I mean, the reality is we all know that these charter schools are public schools, so it doesn't make any sense to me. On and for.
Anyone else for their first time? Representative Eklund.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. So I feel a little compelled to talk here because previous to recent statute that we brought into the state concerning charter schools, it was nearly impossible to get one. You were beating your head against the wall if you thought your local school district was necessarily going to let you even attempt one. More statute, and we've allowed communities at least an opportunity to fail at a charter school. That's the least we could do. Well, I think we might be able to do more than that. I'm in favor of lifting this somewhat and giving our students more choice.
Anyone else for their first time? First time to their second time? Second time, Representative Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Not to belabor any points here, but let's not forget from where this came. We talk about things springing up out of the ground. There is a backlog of communities who would like to attempt charter schools right now, and they can't even try. They can't even apply due to this arbitrary limit. This is just the state, in essence, getting out of the way of what parents and communities have been asking for all over the state.
Anyone else? Representative Lawley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Again, I just want to address the point from the representative at the center of the state where they think we're number one in their hearts, our hearts, but I think he misunderstood my point, that really in the more rural areas, it is really less likely that a district is going to do a charter school. And really, for rural areas, it may be districts kind of working together to get a state authorized charter. So that was really my point, is that this would be the hope for the rural districts if they were interested in starting a charter. So I think maybe my point was misunderstood, and I'll take full responsibility for that. On and for the veto override.
Anyone else for their second time? Second time, seeing no one. The motion is to override the governor's veto of House Enrolled Act number 47, originally being House Bill number 94. If you vote aye, you're voting to override the governor's veto. The override requires a 2/3 majority of the members elected. The chief clerk will now call the roll.
Allemand? Andrew? Angelos? Banks? Bear? Brady? Bratton? Brown, Gary? Brown, Landon, excused. Byron? Campbell, Elisa? Campbell, Kevin? Chestick? Clouston? Connolly? Davis? Eklund? Erickson? Filer? Geringer? Guggenmoss? Haroldson? Harshman? Heiner? Heft? Jarvis? Johnson? Kelly? Knapp? Larson Lloyd? Larson JT? Lawley? Lean. Locke. Lucas, excused. McCann. Nicholas. Ottman. Pendergraft. Posey. Provenza. Riggins. Rodriguez-Williams. Schmid. Sherwood. Singh. Smith. Storer. Strock. Stivar. Tarver. Thayer. Washut. Wasserberger. Webb. Weber. Worf. Williams. Winter. Wiley. Yin. Yin. Mr. Speaker. Are there any changes? Are there any changes? Closing vote. Vote closed. 44 aye, 15 no, 3 excused.
By your vote, you have voted to override the governor's veto of House Enrolled Act number 47, being original House Bill number 94. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House stand in recess until 2:30.
Any committee announcements? We're getting short on those. Any interim topic announcements? Anything you need to announce? Ladies and gentlemen, Representative Heiner. And
Mr. Speaker, the Minerals Joint Committee will meet, probably meeting right now, in room E5, talking about interim topics.
Representative Eklund, please.
Mr. Speaker, we have representatives from our conservation districts. This is Legislative 101, and Holly Kennedy is their representative for the conservation districts. Years ago, I did this, and I didn't have the advantage of any training other than on the job. So if we can welcome them, good to have you.
Thank you for being here and welcome to the House. Okay, any of that other announcements? Representative Winter, Chairman Winter.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tomorrow at noon, the Joint Ag Committee will meet at noon to discuss interim topics. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? I have one. Thank you, House. Thank you for standing up for the position that you voted for and sent to the governor and to the other body. I appreciate your support in standing up for the legislation that passed here with those majorities. Thank you for suspending your rules and doing that in a timely fashion. Thank you. We are in recess until 2:30. Enjoy your lunch.